Welcome back to I Jupiter Live. I'm your host, Tom Franklin. Today we have on my good buddy Jim Powell from Fisher, or also known as Fisher Spam from Fisher Spam's The Night Watch podcast. We're gonna talk about, what are we talking about today? We're gonna be talking about sleep paralysis and shadow creatures, shadow beings. I think the cat's got my tongue today. I don't know what's going on. I'm a little today. Anyway, every Wednesday you get to catch me live right here at 7 p.m. Eastern time. A show comes out every Friday. Please do me a favor and like and subscribe to the channel. We are officially, as the podcast starts, at 997. All I need is 3 more. That's 4. 3 more. Maybe we could celebrate the 1,000 together right now on the podcast. That would be great. So if you got a grandma who has a YouTube channel, if you have a friend who likes this kind of thing, go ahead and tell them about it and go ahead and subscribe to the channel right now. Oh, wait. Just kidding. It's awful. I'm also be found on Rumble, Spotify. You can also find me on Twitch. You can also find me on Instagram. And I think that's everything except for merchandise. You like hats? You like t-shirts? You like mugs? You like, what else? I got posters. Christmas is coming up. Give that family member something that they would enjoy, like a cool psychedelic alien. Anyhow, with all that being said, let's welcome to the podcast my good buddy, Fisher of Spam. What's up, buddy?
What up, everybody? What's going on?
What's up?
Good to see ya.
Oh man, let me click on the comments section over here so I can see what's going on. Oh, we got Smurfy already here, Uncaged Savage. Pamela is always here. You're there. We got a couple people here now. All right, what's up, everybody? How's it going?
Yeah.
Well,
what's going on?
Cool, man. Hey, buddy, do me a favor. Go ahead and plug all your things. That way we can get the show on the road, because you said you got quite a bit of stuff on this, and I'm always happy and lucky to get to pick your brain and listen to your concepts and ideas.
All right. Well, I am Jim, also known as Fisher of Spam. We have Fisher of Spam's The Night's Watch. And if you keep finding yourself coming back to Fisher of Spam's The Night's Watch, do me a favor and like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Anyways, you can find me on the Facebooks. You can find me, well, you could find me on X, but they just banned me because I'm apparently inauthentic. But whatever.
Used to could find you.
Used to could. If they don't undo that ban, I'm gonna go on a tirade about them. But whatever. Maybe
you are unauthentic. Okay. All right.
That's what they said. I guess they think I'm just a spam bot, because all I do is pretty much come on there and put the links to the show out, because I really don't like X that much. It's kind of boring to me, but still.
Yeah. There's a couple that are weird. Like Instagram, you can't like do links. So I'm like, what? I just put pictures of myself? What the fuck? It's a little weird. I mean, you can do like short videos from your phone or your PC, but like then it's like extra work. And it's like, well, I prepared this awesome link over here on YouTube. Why can't I link it up? And they're like, well, we don't do that. It's just, okay, dude. So it's weird.
Right. It's whatever. I don't care. It's whatever. All I know is they better fix it, or else I'm a coming after you, Rocket Man. Don't make me expose you. But I digress.
Yeah, please continue.
Yeah. Well, just so you know, no, I'm just kidding. All right, so that's probably enough of the business out of the way. Come hang out. I love everybody. I got cool stuff. I talk about cool stuff. I
got some cool merch now too. You forgot about your merch, dude.
Oh yeah, I just
seen some of your merch.
Yeah, it's super cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, come check that stuff all out. We over there, I take a look at things from the paranormal, and I show you guys it through a Christian's perspective, because that's what I am. We talk all the time about how it feels like all this stuff is connected. Well, long and short story of it is, It is. And I explain to you how it is. Might not be your cup of tea, but very least, I bet you'll find it interesting. I do some pretty cool
That's
stuff.
the truth. That's the truth. That is absolutely the truth. It may not be my cup of tea. You know, that's not my cup of tea, but it is always interesting. And that in itself is worth the listen. So go do me a favor and check out Jim's channel. Go over there and like and subscribe, guys, please.
Mm-hmm. Also,
Bell
another
notification.
interesting tidbit, one little interesting thing. The next form of the Forbidden is going to be on my channel on Saturday at 8:30
You just
Central.
right.
Tom's going to be there. Magic's going to be there.
And
Potentially, he said yes. Paranormal Paul is going to be there. Now, we've been trying to get him on for forever.
oh, he's a busy dude, man. I think
know,
he does
he's
like
such a busy guy.
3-4 lives a week. 3-4 lives a week. Has a family. Does a full-time job. Yeah, runs a great. Go over to Paul's channel as well. The Paranormal Among Us. He's a great guy.
So everybody, do me a huge favor. If he doesn't show up, just bully him just a little bit. Just a little.
Nothing aggressive. Just kind of under the radar, slightly passive aggressive. We're not going to. We love Paul. We just want Paul to come over and join us because he's such a great character and he's good at what he does. And he would add. The show's great in itself. Don't get me wrong, but to add him to the show would be something very awesome. Here's Paul's channel, guys, right here. Boom. Go over and like and subscribe and follow his channel.
He is our favorite nerd.
I wouldn't. Hey, that's name call him.
I know, but I always call him nerd, so got to do it. Keep it up. I just want to make sure that peer pressure's there. So, what up, Freaky?
Freaky.
But yeah. All right. You want me to start kicking this off, brother?
You kick it off, dude, and I do what I do, and you go ahead and do what you do. You're more of a storyteller guy. You're very good at what you do. And it's quite impressive. Please go check out Stardust Ranch while you're at it.
Please.
And please, he puts a lot of work into it. It's different. I guess that's a nice way. It's weird for me, but if you know Jim, like I know Jim, it's kind of funny too. It's enjoyable. Please check it out.
Oh, I put memes all throughout it.
A little series in there. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah. All right. So, let's see here. Where we left off at on your channel is I came on and talked about my CE5 experiences and how this crazy alien entity ended up showing up in my driveway. So, if you guys haven't checked that out yet, you might want to do it after the show. Not right now. Right now, you stay here with us. But so in the timeline of things, that's what happened. Okay, it's where I left off with you guys on the Eye of Jupiter app. Now, I'm not going to go in a sequential order of everything that happened to me, but it does start off, funnily enough, after I left there. So we're going to start talking about sleep paralysis and shadow entities, because for whatever reason, after those events happened and I decided to get the heck out of that area and move, I started experiencing sleep paralysis and lots of shadow critters, which is something that has never been a thing before that event. So
interesting.
Might be good to check into that and see what you're missing there. And of course, if you want more, I put everything in chronological order that I've experienced on my channel. There's a whole playlist, so have fun. But anyways, so one thing, all right, so let's see here. We'll start off with the first event that I recall. All right. So sleep paralysis starts becoming a thing. I've never experienced it before. And most of the time when it first started, there wasn't really nothing too bad that happened. I mean, it's always a disconcerting feeling, right? It's never a fun time. No. But nothing too crazy like that I remember happened until the very first event. Now, one thing I should probably get into this at one point in time on your show about CE5, but anyways, I'll do my best to explain this a little bit quickly. So I wake up and in a sleep paralysis moment. And the difference here is that this time I feel something that's approaching. It's moving very slowly. And for whatever reason, I don't know the whys to it. I feel like it's basically in the hallway that attaches both sides of the house. This house is a very old, or was a very old, fishing cabins right there on the Tennessee River that were conjoined together. So that little part that is conjoining it together is called a dog trot. All right. So I felt something in the dog trot making its way to the bedroom, and I'm basically freaking out. And granted, I can't see it. I don't know the hows or the whys that I can feel it because, that was never the situation before. But for whatever reason, it is now. And I feel the pressure change. I feel the door opening. And I feel it begin to approach.
What do you mean by pressure? Do you mean like the pressure in the room, like a barometric pressure or something like this?
Exactly that. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and for whatever reason, every time something happens, that is a case for me. I don't know how to explain that. I don't know. But anyways, so I feel the door open. I feel the thing begin to make its way into the room. And, and I'm frozen on my side, facing away from everything. Like I can't see what's going on. And I'm just freaking out. Like, why can't I move? I need to move. And out of nowhere, right as this thing is coming in, I feel another change happen in the atmosphere. And all of a sudden, it's like something appeared beside me in the bed. Well, not in the bed, but next to the bed. And oddly enough, I cannot hear anything. That part is turned off. I don't know. But I feel something appear beside me. And I literally feel it put its hand on my hip with one hand. The other hand, I feel it raise like this. And I can feel in the air like something or someone is screaming at this other entity that is trying to come into the room. Like, how when people start shouting, like you can literally feel it besides, hear it, obviously.
Yes, I understand what you mean.
So it's exactly that's going on. I feel something there holding me and holding its hand up and screaming at whatever's coming into the room. Okay. So with a lot of my experiences, there's a general impression that I can neither prove or disprove. Okay. I don't know how that works. I don't know. It's like our spirit or whatever has like a sense of knowing. It's strange. I don't know. But I feel like that it was an angel that was protecting me from whatever was coming into the room.
Wow.
Now, I can't prove that, obviously. But there is a general impression that I got from it, like a feeling of almost familiarity. Now, prior to this event, I did a CE5 that technically I was warned against from even doing, where I wanted to contact an Anunnaki. And I'm not going to like really break into that story of what went down because there's really not a whole lot to tell. But I will say that The feeling that I got from that particular being was very similar to the angelic being that I felt touching me. The only difference was the being that was touching me now was very calming and loving and nice towards me, whereas the Anunnaki thing that I talked to was the opposite. They felt similar, but there was not the niceties there, if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. And, I don't know how relevant of a detail that is, guys, but if that's intriguing, go check it out. I explain it better. It's only relevant to the story because I felt almost as if maybe this thing was related, like they were related to each other, but obviously from different ends of the spectrum. But yeah, that was the very first notable sleep paralysis and something happening event that happened to me after my alien contact. Alien.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, I know your belief is that they're demons, but I've had sleep paralysis too. It's a little bit different for me though. It's been a while. I've been doing a lot better with it. But there was a time period where there was a big shift in my life where my sleep paralysis is that I'm awake. I can hear myself breathing. I could hear my ex-wife breathing. Um, and I can hear the clocks in the room or whatever I got going on. And I feel like I can't move, which is the paralysis part. And if I feel like if someone were to just touch me, touch my finger, I could literally move and jump out of bed. But there was one time in particular that I was like screaming her name
Mm-hmm.
and she kind of woke me up. And I was like, if you ever see me do that, you need to wake me up. But I have a different experience, if you don't mind. Like I did have
Go
one
for
that
it.
was really, really strange.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I wake up. It's quite scary. I'm sure a lot of
Mm-hmm.
people have had it, but I found it to be associated with some type of trauma or situation I'm dealing with in my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One time in particular, I kept having these episodes because of my night shift work, which I had to eventually quit. That I would just be in the middle of the night. I'd go to the bathroom and I would fall down, like literally just I would go pee and then fall down, and a couple times just barely missed my head hitting the toilet. But
Oof.
this one particular night was crazy, dude. I was so there's the bed and there's a gap between the bed and then there's a cabinet, and on the other side of the bed it's like open. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sleeping in the bed and I get up and I feel like I gotta go to the bathroom, and then there's like this swirling vortex. I don't think I've ever told you guys this. A long time ago on the other podcast, there's this like swirling vortex. Like it was like the whole room. Well, no, it's like not the whole room, but right next to the bed. When I meant
Yeah.
whole, is that my whole body started swirling into this thing,
Mm-hmm.
and then I fell down right next to the bed, and then I woke up in the bed. You understand what I mean? So it was a dream, but it
Oh,
also felt
okay.
like sleep paralysis as well because I was. And my friend Rye from Codex Curiosity. I always it's such a weird word to get out sometimes. He said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, you were probably abducted. You were probably abducted." I don't know, but that was one of the scariest things that I've had to deal with that I never really told on the podcast. It's interesting. It
Yeah.
happened maybe 6, 7 years ago, 2017, 18. So yeah, that was pretty wild. But
Interesting.
after the night shifts, and then like I started coming back to a better level,
Mm-hmm.
I felt a lot better and it didn't happen as much. But yes, they
Mm.
are quite scary.
Oh yeah, they can be. And what's weird is like at the end of that particular event, like I felt both of those said entities like disappear at the exact same time
Mm.
because I also heard finally like my ears were working again somehow. The wife come in from work. And as soon as that happened, like as soon as they both disappeared, I could move. I jumped
Wow.
straight up out of bed and I was like running to my wife. I was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for being home. You'll never believe what just happened."
She's
She's
like,
like,
why
"Was it
can't you be like
scary?"
this every day? Why can't you be like this every day, Jim?
Yeah, right. Mm, mm.
I didn't mean to open that can of worms. Oh my god.
We're just gonna push that over there
Yeah,
now.
let's give it that way.
Anyway,
It's hard to tell, Pam. I don't know if I lost time or not. Little side note there. I don't know. It was at nighttime. I don't know if I lost time or not, but it was very. I just remember and it sucked in and then falling onto the floor or like through the portal, and then I ended up on the floor, and then I woke up in my bed. So whatever the hell that was, that's what that was.
Very interesting. Now, let me make sure I can remember, because like I said, I'm going to try to get through them all the best I can.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that goes. There's going to be probably 2 that's going to be really important that I'm going to probably spend a good bit of time on. But let's get through some small ones. Now, the first shadow entity event that I had after this, it wasn't actually very long afterwards. It was a very interesting one. I don't really know what to make of it. But so I was asleep at the same place. And how was I doing that? I was this time sleeping on my right side. And I had my head like this. And somehow I fell asleep with my arm up in the air like that. And I was asleep, and I got awoken up by something grabbing my hand that was up like this and throwing it down and screaming into my ear, "I hate you. Get out of here." And I woke up,
What?
and I saw it. Yeah, I saw it. Like it didn't get me in paralysis, so you done goofed there. But anyways, and I saw it, and it like scampered away to the end of the bed and then crouched down at the footboard, like kind of like peering over the rails, and then just kind of finished crouching the rest of the way down until it disappeared. And I'm kind of like in shock by it at the moment. I'm like, what in the heck is that? But then like my senses kicked in. I'm like, oh, wait a second. It didn't put me in sleep paralysis? Oh, okay. We're playing this game, huh? So I get up and I walk over there. Nothing. Get the flashlight, nothing under the bed. There was nothing. And I don't know what to think about that. Like, at the time, my brain registered it as ghost.
Okay.
But the problem with that is this entity was very small. Like, I don't know, maybe 3 feet tall. Stockily built, though. I mean, like, it was fairly wide and, I don't know, old big back, I guess. I don't know. It was good size, but but like my looking back on it, like it feels very impish is really a better way to describe it, is what I would say. But yeah, I
Okay.
don't know about that. Either way, though, I mean, I still say, come back with your A game next time, because after I got done like trying to figure out where it went, I laid back down and pretty much said aloud to the room, I don't know, I don't care, whatever. I'm tired. Go away. And that's exactly what I did. So, don't know.
That's wild. That's so weird, dude. Like, so, and all this happened after you tried to make contact with the Anunnaki?
Well, no, not necessarily. I mean, it everything actually started happening when I just started doing CE5, trying to connect with whatever, in those sessions, I connected with, well, whatever the heck the first thing was that pretty much became a spirit guide to me after the fact, which, by the way, folks, don't do it. Don't do it. Anyways.
It's not.
Yeah. Whatever that creature was, I made contact with it. I made contact with a couple of reptilians, a mantis creature, and the last one I talked to was an Anunnaki. And then after that is when I stopped because the wife's shift changed and she was home. And that night when I didn't do it is when the alien showed up in my driveway, and everything went downhill from there.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So kind of like maybe set off a chain of events or something. Like when you did what you did, you're trying to tell people to be careful and what you're doing with this stuff, because there's lingering consequences to doing
Oh yeah.
something that's outside of your purview of information or experience.
Think of it like a legal contract. When you make said contract, you are opening yourself up to communications with forces that can be or appear as whatever they want, assuming they're not like that
Uh-huh.
already. And you are giving them legal right to make contact with you in whatever way that they see fit and to do with you whatever they see fit.
Right.
There's
Right.
consequences. So that's
And
why I
you,
say be careful.
and you're a person who has done said thing, and you're coming
Mhm.
back to give a warning, to be cautious. If you think, because all, a lot of these podcasts are, you're just like, the stories, which is being, incredible, and that's what people are here to listen to, the experiences, the encounters, the stories, because they're so fascinating. Hey, what's up, JD? Haven't seen you in a long time. um
Yep.
yeah, it's such a weird thing that these stories are, they happen, but at the same time, someone who's like gone through them, because you were telling me there's some
Mhm.
other things that we won't get into now. Be
Mm.
careful, Tom. Blah 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 blah. And I was like, okay, man. He's like, I
Yep.
got you. You're in my prayers. You're in my thoughts, Tom. I'm, which is great. I take, all help. Welcome. I love everybody. Go for it. And I just think it's kind of cool that you've seen things I have never seen, and I've seen things you haven't seen, and everyone has their stories and encounters. But when it comes to things like this, you're
Mhm.
saying just be careful, be cautious, and know what you're getting into before you do it.
Yeah, because, I've got well, if you go to my YouTube channel and you look up my personal experiences, I think I've got 8 episodes, and they're all between an hour to an hour and a half long. That's how many experiences have happened to me since the first initial CE5 stuff that I tried. I made that contract to make communication, and it took me forever to get it through my thick skull of what was actually going on. And
Oh,
yes, I tried many different things to make it stop, and no, they did not stop until I did one thing. But we're getting there. We're getting there.
wow.
I want to cover that story for your audience. I'm gonna try to end on that for y'all. So
Sure. Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yes. I'm sure you're building a storyline.
I
Yes.
am. I am.
I
All right. So
know. I know.
let's see here. Hmm. Yeah, that'll do it. Melatonin will do it too, strangely enough. All right.
That'll do it.
So,
Yep.
um, all right. The next one that I recall is a hard one to tell. So I'm gonna do my best.
All right, man.
I probably may, I don't know, turn my camera off for this because y'all don't need to see me get emotional. But all right. So the next notable sleep paralysis event that I can think of, it happened after my daughter was born. And I don't remember how old she was. She was probably maybe 2 months old or so. I don't know. Younger than a year. I definitely know that. She was still quite the newborn. And she was sleeping in her crib and she was doing great with it. Her crib was at the foot of the bed. And I remember being woken up from sleep paralysis. Can't move, can't do nothing. I could only stare forward basically. And once again, it's a presence that I feel that's approaching from the dog trot. Now, this is probably the most menacing presence that I have ever felt during these events. And once again, I can't move, I can't do nothing. And I am freaking out because if it comes through that door, it's going to get to the little one before it gets to me.
Mm.
And obviously, I can't have that now.
Right.
And I am doing everything in my power to either move or to stop it. You know, and an important note to understand that during all of this, at this time, I am hardcore atheist. You know, I'm
Really?
not. Yes, I am not the
I
person
didn't
that
know
you see
this.
before you. Oh yeah,
I didn't know
hardcore
that, dude. Well, you were a closeted former atheist like myself.
for a time.
All right, I
Well,
didn't know that. We have to talk about that on the side. I didn't know that at all about you.
well, when you have a conversation with aliens and they start telling you all this crazy stuff that happened, apparently,
All
you
right.
kind of you turn into the guy with the crazy hair from the History Channel. Ancient astronaut theorists say yes.
JD loves that guy. I know JD is a walk. Greetings from Mexico and Alabama back to Baltimore. JD's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
weird,
and
man.
by the way, JD, you make a great point. That little one is protected, yes, because innocence. So there is no legal right that entity would have to come and mess with her. It's a great call. You're 100% correct.
Thank you,
Anyways,
JD.
yes, good call. So anyway, but that isn't something that's in my head at the moment, at that time. And I'm desperate and I'm doing just everything. I mean, I even start praying again, which is something I hadn't done for many years at that point. I'm remembering my Pentecostal roots. I'm trying to pray the blood of Jesus everywhere. But grace is sufficient for a lot of things. So let me throw a little caveat here. Grace is sufficient for a lot of things. But if I openly say, when people be all Christian-y around me at that time, this is all a bunch of bullcrap, and after every prayer, if I'm with somebody and they say amen, I say hail Odin. Grace isn't sufficient for that, because at that moment you got to understand that for me, when I'm saying those things, they are empty words ultimately to me. I have already given permission for these things to interact with me. So there's that.
Okay.
All right. So I'm having no luck. I'm like, okay, all right. Next step, meditate. Meditate. Project bad/good vibes at this thing. Ward it off. It's not welcome. Yada yada. I'm doing that consciously in my head. No such luck. It's still coming. I can't move. Things are not working out. Okay. And I feel it. It's right there at the precipice fixing to come in. And I'm like, what can I do? I don't know what else to do. But then it hit me. Oh, wait a second. When I did my CE5 stuff, I was also astral projecting. I can astral project and leave my body and go try to fight this thing.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
Okay. So I did that and it worked. I came up out of my body and I was ready to fight. I felt very alive and energetic. I was boom, beeline out that door. I got out there in that hallway and I looked around. And granted, it's night. I get it. But it's pitch black. I see literally nothing. And I'm like, wait, where's the fight? Where's the thing? And then suddenly, now y'all, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Okay. I see right in front of me a large 3-fingered and a thumb gray hand and most of a forearm come down and smack me right in the top of the head. I don't know how to explain it. I don't know what happened. But as soon as that happened, I went rocketing back into my body. My astral form went rocketing back into my body. And the bad news is I can feel things at this moment, because all I can feel is pain. It feels like electricity is just shooting through my body. And all I can do is sit there and feel constant pain and like myself shaking. I'm convulsing like crazy. I don't know how long that went on for, but I can assure you that in my mind, it felt like eternity, feeling nothing but electricity and pain.
Wow.
And then all of a sudden, turns off. And I springboard up out of that bed, freaking out. First thing I do is I check on the baby. The baby's fine. She's sleeping, no problem. But like I said, I have no idea how long I was out for. And all I can think of is what just happened to my little one. So I can move. She looks fine. Next step. Grab the pistol, and we are tactically clearing the house, because every time something happens with me, that's always my go-to. You guys might notice that theme, like, if you go check my stuff out.
Yeah, Jim's a gun guy.
I'm very much a gun guy.
He's a Second Amendment dude, which I am as well. So yeah,
right. So yeah, I mean, I clear every single room in the house. I'm cutting the corners of the pie as I'm checking. I mean, I am doing it to the T. I'm doing it right. Okay. And yeah, nothing. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what to even say about that. This pain, did it resonate from like where you were hit on the skull, or was it just internal, excuse me, or like somewhere in the middle of your, where did it seem to be coming from?
Everywhere. Now, one thing to note though about that is when you guys listen to stories about, well, anything really, ghostesses, cryptids, aliens, it doesn't matter. One thing that you will always notice is that when something comes around and starts interacting with them, they always report feeling an electrical sensation coming over them. I don't know what it is.
Some type of, yes.
Yes. They seem to have the ability to manipulate that.
They'll call it being, like, if it's a cryptid, like a Bigfoot, they'll be zapped. The same with Dogman, you'll be zapped. If you're doing like a paranormal investigation, you feel like you're walking through something, they can monitor it. It changes. There's a lot of that involved. Very, very good point, buddy. Very good point.
Mm-hmm. So when people tell those stories, wild. That always resonates with me, because it's like, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying, because I felt that. I know what that feels like. And it won't be this story won't be the last time that I felt that. It was the worst one that I ever felt. This is true.
Well, and like I said, man, you thought you might be emotional, but you were able to gather yourself. Even if you were, dude, it wouldn't. I mean, you have your own choice, whatever. But
yeah,
that's I can understand that when your daughter's involved. I have a daughter as well. That I would, that we would lay our lives down. Like it's not even a thing. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, it's not, of course.
People say, "Oh, I love my dog." Do you? I love my dog too. I cried for 3 days with my dog, but my daughter. And if we thought, that's the thing that I don't get. If we felt that same way about everyone else's kid, what kind of world would we live in, dude? We would be in nirvana instantly.
Yeah.
Wouldn't we?
Yeah. I mean,
wild,
yeah,
ain't it?
Sure. Definitely. But alas, people be cray-cray.
Alas, look at you. You love you. That's so weird. You'll say alas, which is something from the 1600s or some shit, and then you say people be cray cray, which is like I think like a 90s slang. And it just throw me off sometimes. Alas, people be cray cray. What? And you're not authentic? Well, the hell with UX. That's
Yeah.
authentic.
Oh, you know what? While we're on that note, a little birdie out there told me that allegedly his mother was one of the mothers of darkness. I believe that's how you pronounce that, the motherhood of darkness or something like that. You know, the ladies that are
Oh,
supposed to give birth to demons in our
yes.
realm.
And
Allegedly.
we're talking about allegedly a person who can land rockets.
Crazy.
Isn't that weird? I never heard
So
of that
weird.
one. That's a new one on me.
Yeah, but
Hmm.
just allegedly, I don't know. I don't know.
Hmm.
With an ostrich, I don't know.
Mr. Neon Crust.
There you go.
That's what he's going to be referred to from now on, guys. Neon Crust.
Hmm.
That's my
Sounds
brain.
fancy.
Oh, it does sound fancy. Imagine that, like you have glow in the dark pie with like like it's the time of the season. I think Kraft Foods needs to get on that immediately. I want some
Mm.
glow in the dark pumpkin pie for Halloween.
Nice. Yeah, why not? Why not?
Where did you hear that from?
What?
The grapevine? The grapevine? The Mothers of Darkness? I know about the Mothers of Darkness. I've heard of this before.
Let's see here. I technically the first time I heard about it was through an interview on the confessionals.
Ooh.
Yeah, some chick that used to be, well, I think she was being trained to join that particular sect of Satanism or whatever. And
Mm.
during that time, her little protector or whatever that like I don't know, kept a monitor over her that was supposedly her age was was Mr. Rocket Man allegedly.
What?
So, yeah. You can you guys do your own homework.
Do your
Do your
homework.
own homework.
Somebody's your own
Allegedly.
opinions. Somebody's your opinions.
Unblock me. Unblock me.
That's so weird that you would get blocked on X. I've never. I used to. I went on Twitter like a long time ago to like try to like promote my comedy ideas and just like get them out there. And that is
Yeah.
really. It's just like a black hole of nonsense. I just didn't get it. I don't get it. I guess I'm old. I don't know. Facebook makes sense. That one's you can actually interact and share links and hey guys, how's it going?
Yeah.
But it's for old people.
Apparently. We're just showing our age, I guess,
We're
ultimately,
just
right?
so. Isn't that weird that they would connect your generation to what social media you choose to use? That's so silly. People are so silly. They always want to find a reason to divide you in some weird direction just because you
Yeah.
don't say what they like. It's so strange.
But to be fair, you know what was really cool is when I used to have a MySpace, and every time you clicked on my MySpace, a Tool song would play. That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Wish that could
What the hell
happen
are
on
they back
Facebook.
there?
Yeah,
That would be
but
awesome.
anyways,
Remember those days? Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Anyhow, we're digressing, Jim. So you went through, I think, 3 of the stories so far, if my calculations are correct.
Okay. Let's make sure I can remember them all. I'm just gonna kind of go off the cuff here. Yes, I remember them all. Okay, so we got
Yeah,
3 left to
that's what we
cover.
always do anyway.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's skip on a little bit. Probably maybe a year or 2 at best from this point. All right. But before we get there, a little bit of background. All right. Now, before I had left that house there on the Tennessee River, I had a dream. And in this dream, the very first alien that I contacted in my CE5 came to talk to me. Now, it was kind of weird because technically he and I talked all the time. For lack of a better word, this thing was pretty much my spirit guide, you could say.
Okay.
But it came to me in a dream, and it wanted to show me a vision of some stuff to write a book about. Now, I'm not going to give all the details of that away, but I will say that the purpose of the book that it wanted me to write, in its exact words, I'm direct quoting here. It said, "It doesn't matter how many people it reaches. It will be a bestseller and you will make plenty of money. The goal of this is to affect one person in particular to be able to implement the changes in the human genome that we want to happen." Because essentially its message was, instead of merging with AI, we need to create the best version of human beings that we could, i.e. chimera. It wanted us to inject like animal DNA and stuff like that and change ourselves, you know. And it was saying, you know, this is how humans need to go, and this is the way that I want you to affect that change, to inspire those changes. You need to only inspire one person.
That's
okay.
Excuse my French, but that's fucking crazy. That's
I
such
agree.
a wild. I'm not saying you. I'm saying the idea, because because a lot of people will say that, like, you know, when they, you know, like, you know, it could be Isaac Newton, and he'll say, oh, and he writes this, he like does calculus by the time he's 26. And if you ask these people, or Tesla, they'll say that it's inspired by something. So, you know what I'm
Yes.
saying? People like to use, oh, the imagination is this, that, and the other. But like, people don't understand, the imagination is something that didn't exist in 3D reality now does. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the concept of
Yeah.
that is, people don't really get that. It's such a weird thing. And it makes so much. I know what the implications of that are. But so it's like you are going to be, you're basically being manipulated to do something to change what is already perfect.
Correct. It's a good way to put it.
That's dark.
Yeah.
That's dark.
Yeah. Well, anyway, the moral of that story was, you know, and it was, well, hold on, before we get there, like, it was really crazy. Like, everything was very vivid, and I remembered every detail of what it showed me. It even went into like in depth about the marketing scheme and how to play on tropes. Like, it went into every single detail of how to make this happen. Now, sadly, I did write that book, but good news is I changed my life before I released it. So it's never been released. So there's that.
Fair
But
enough. And don't
now,
show me that book, because I don't want to be the one who sees it and then
you know, to be fair, when you and I very first started talking, you were like, "Oh, I want to read that." You did say that.
I did say that, did I? Well, you have
Yeah,
one of
I
those
recall.
memories. I don't like your photographic memory, Jim. You know, you don't have to be so, you know, photographic.
Well, to be fair, it really was a good book. Like, I was super entertained by it. Like, when I got done writing it, I highlighted the entire thing and made Siri read it back to me when I was at work one night. And it ended up being like, I don't know, 8.5, 10 hours. And the whole time, even with her AI monotone voice, I was like, oh man, this is awesome. I would so pay for this. Good job. But anyways, I digress.
Once again, yeah, you be cray cray.
I'd be cray cray. Right. So anyways, all right. So I move out of that house in Gunnersville there. And I'm living with my parents, the wife and the kid and I, because I'm building the house that I'm actually in right now. And I remember one night I was working night shift. I came home and I'd get home at about 12:30 and I'd stay up to about 2:33. And this is when I would start writing the book, you know. And I remember I'm home, I've got my ear pods in, and listening to music, and I'm writing the book. And as I'm writing, I feel that pressure change. And I feel what feels like something leaning out the doorway to look at me and see what I'm doing, like watching over my shoulders. And I'm like, I'm doing my best to rationalize it. I'm like, okay, it's probably just my mom getting out of bed and checking to see if I'm home. No worries. So I keep tippity tapping her along, writing the book, listening, and it's just hanging out there, just watching over my shoulder. I'm like, I don't think my mom would do this because she would normally just be like, "Oh, you're home," and then go back, right? Like, if she did that at all. And, and like I said, the pressure changed. Like the pressure changes when there's somebody standing behind you anyways. Like, you can feel that, or at least I can. I don't know if other people
Yes, at least
can.
it's more than I think there was a double blind placebo. I think it's more than 50% of the time, so therefore it is an actual thing.
Right.
Sorry.
So, no, it's great context, and it's just sitting there hanging out and just watching me, and I'm just getting annoyed by it. And I feel like the change in the pressure is more than just that. So I'm like, okay, something else is going on. It's not interacting with me, but it sure is annoying the heck out of me. So I'm sly about it. I've got Apple EarPods in, and I kind of reach up, pause it, keep, and act like I'm scratching myself and keep clickety clacketing. And eventually, it's still there. I mean, it's probably there for I don't know how long. Probably close to a minute or so. And finally, I just stop what I'm doing. I keep looking at the screen and pretty much say, "Hey, can I help you with something right now? Because you are really getting on my nerves." And man, I felt
Right.
that thing just book it out of there. And I was like, oh, very interesting. So, don't
That's
know.
weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah. This is you've had quite the experiences, man. You have quite the experiences. It's so strange. Do you and was there anything before the CE5? Anything that you can
Oh, yeah.
recall?
Yeah, there was stuff before. I mean, my family has on both sides of my family, there's tons of stuff that's happened to them from, I don't know, my uncle having the devil come out of the woods and chasing him, and my aunt having a giant green hand reach through the window, pick her up by her nightgown, pick her up out of the bed, and drop her in the floor. My mother seeing UFOs, my cousins seeing UFOs. I mean, there's a history. There's a history, which is
Yeah, no
why
kidding.
I was always so interested in the subject growing up as a kid because I heard these stories. And, things on TV were coming out. There was more than just In Search Of that was out for my generation. And I ate that stuff up, man. I loved it. And that's why, like, after I got older and more stuff started coming out on this matter, I was like, give me more, give me more. Oh, this Stephen
Okay.
Greer guy comes on to Joe Rogan Experience and talks about CE5, and I'm just like,
What's that?
sounds pretty hippy dippy, but if he's having these kind of results, let's try it. We try it, it's all downhill.
Right. Damn.
Be careful. Be careful, folks.
To
Be
say it in
careful.
Spanish, a la madre.
Whatever he
That's
said.
so a la madre is like it's kind of like holy crap, kind of like that. Like, oh my god, it's kind of like that.
Right.
They say mother for a lot of things, but it's not like your mother. It's kind of like the non-existent mother. It's kind of like when you learn a lot about Spanish, it's very strange that way, especially Mexican Spanish. They say they use the word fart for everything. Like fart is pedo. So if they say que pedo is what's up, but it actually means what's fart. Or es bien pedo. He is
I thought you
really
said
fart.
I thought you said que
But it means he's
paso.
really drunk.
Oh, okay.
Yes, you can say que pasó, but
Yeah.
but like it's kind of like saying sup. It's kind of like saying what's crack a lacking. It's kind of like that, but the Mexican version of it. So they use the word pedo for a lot of things. It's weird, but only in Mexico.
Okay.
It's a Mexican slang that they only use here. I don't know how I got off on that topic. Oh, this Chewy over here is writing.
That's it.
Oh, we're back. Noted. Okay. It's so okay. Do you want to start surmising and maybe get into these shadow creatures a little bit? What you think maybe this is?
Yep, I've got 2 last experiences.
Not what you think it is, what you believe it is. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
All right, as long as you got time, because I see where we're at. You got time?
No, don't worry about it. We got time.
All right. So we're gonna skip over a bunch of stuff that happened and go to the next experience in this flavor. All right. Now, at this next stage, I start having change of heart and change of mind, because I'm beginning to realize that, wow, these things really are connected. And I keep hearing these stories about how, Jesus, the name of Jesus seems to stop things, right? So I'm like,
yes,
I'm bringing myself around, and I'm starting to take that very seriously, and I'm trying to be a better person. Okay. And one night I wake up, and it's odd the way that I woke up, because I wasn't in sleep paralysis this time, but I have this sharp shooting pain that feels like electricity in my left shoulder. And beside me in the bed, I'm hearing something that I can't understand, and the bed is shaking. So I wake up to this, and I'm like, okay, so the first thing I see is my wife has her arms wrapped around the child, because after that very first story, or second story, the kid slept in the bed with us ever since. It was, things had to get through me before it got to it. But anyways, so I wake up, my wife has her arms wrapped around the kid, and she is shaking and speaking in tongues. Now, understand, for me, growing up Pentecostal, that's normal. For her, somebody that grew up as a Methodist and was always freaked out by seeing such things when she went to church with me, seeing her do that now is very odd. Okay, wait, what's going on? Apparently something serious is happening right now, because that ain't normal for her. Ouch. Why does my shoulder feel like it's being electrocuted? This hurts really bad. Let's start rolling over to check this out. All right, as soon as I do, this large shadow entity backs up. Its hand was on my shoulder blade, and it backs up. And I'm like, I'm in like shock, but not like feared. Like, I'm not afraid, but I'm just like, what the heck is going on? What are you?
Right.
Why are you here? That's like more of my mental state at this point, because I've had a lot of stuff happen, but at this point it's getting harder and harder to shock me. I mean, it's harder and harder to keep me in sleep paralysis as I'm becoming a Christian. Well, as I became a Christian, and I'm trying to work my life out. I've developed this strange superpower where if I'm asleep and I start having a nightmare that I know is more than a nightmare, I can start talking in my sleep and calling on the name of Jesus and wake myself up, or at least start talking in my sleep to the point where my wife will wake me up and say, hey, you're screaming Jesus over and over again. I feel like you need to be woke up. So that started happening at this point. Anyways, let's get back there. This thing is backed up, and I'm looking at it like, what are we doing? Where do we go from here? Right. This thing keeps backing up, slowly, and turns a corner around and goes into the closet. And I'm kind of like, shock is wearing off. I'm like, wait a second, I can move. Let's get the gun out. Pistol out. Let's go into that closet. And man, I'm just poking every single pile of clothes. I'm moving everything out of the way. Gone. Nothing there.
That's why, Jim, to reflect upon our first meeting that you and I did a podcast on when you were talking about the alien in the driveway. Go check that episode out, guys.
Please.
When you were talking about it, either on Jim's channel or mine, however you feel, when you were talking about it, you were just like, yeah, this and that happened. And I was just like, he's being very punctual. He's being very honest. I can tell that. But it's so also nonchalant because you've had so much shit happen that when things are touching you and the pain and you fear with your daughter and I'm not even going to say the part that's wild because you need to go check that part out. He expresses his discontent with that particular part of the story that I'm not going to tell you guys. You got to go check it out. But the part where he's like, yeah, it's just in the driveway and the shoulders are like this and it comes down at an angle and it's got a really small waist and this and that. And he describes the face. And I'm over there like with my jaw on the floor and he's just like, yeah. It's like so crazy to me.
My tolerance is a little high at the moment for strangeness. So yeah.
Mine's gotten higher. Like I seen that full-fledged apparition while I was working a couple months ago, just rise up from the floor and I just said, hey, I'm not here to bother you. But I remember in the past, if I'd have seen that, I'd have ran away. Honestly, I probably wouldn't have seen it because your eyes kind of get, when you talk to people who've had experience like yourself and others that I've spoken to or with, you kind of get sensitive to it as well, or you get more in tune with it. I use the word in tune. And in the past, it's something like that when it hits you in the face, like the poltergeist thing I went through. At 8 years old, you're not ready for any of that stuff. And now it's kind of like, oh, I see you. You're right there. Hi. You know what I mean? But the stuff you see from me being where I am is on a different level. That's so crazy. And normally monsters, I'm not going to say that joke. I'll write it in private chat. It's closets and monsters. You do the math. It's a really funny joke to me at the moment. I don't know why my brain thought of it. Anyhow, yeah, so it's just the monster went in the closet. Normally you look for monsters in the closet.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting detail why I thought the closet was a cool place to go, but I don't know. I wasn't able to ask questions, so however, I will say an interesting thing about it was like, well, after the fact anyways, is when I woke up, because after I basically threatened everything in the closet with my pistol and went back to sleep, when I woke up the next morning, my shoulder was still like in so much pain. Like it literally felt like something had just shocked, like electrocuted the crap out of me.
Right.
And I asked the wife, I was like, my shoulder is still on fire. Will you look at it? And she's like, yeah. So she looks at it and she's like, oh my God. And I was like, what is it? She's like, you have a handprint on your shoulder that looks like it's burned into you. I'm like, oh, that's crazy. Guess what happened last night? And she's like, la, 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 I don't want to hear. I'm like, oh, because you were a little bit involved there. Good job, by the way.
Okay. The obvious question would be, and if I didn't ask this question, that it was that's the wrong word, but they would attack me. Picture?
Yes, on one of my old phones that broke. This would actually be the second bruised handprint that is on me that I've captured since events. But yeah, that phone, I don't know why, but it seems like it decided that it didn't want to survive after taking pictures of evidence. Don't know. I don't know if it's recoverable or not.
Maybe. That's interesting. I've heard that before as well.
I've made the promise before on my channel that I'll try, and I need to get on that. Life is busy,
Yeah. Things happen, dude.
What's weird though is that my shoulder hurt for like a month after that. I mean, if I think about it, like, even to this day, if I think about it, I can still feel, like, where that thing touched me, and I don't know what that is, and I also don't care. You know, it holds no
Right.
sway or power over me. You know, if anything, if it wants to be, like, a lasting reminder for you, I'll be like, "Whatever, come back."
You Irish now?
Bet.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. "Do it again, I dare ya." That's what I say.
What do you think I am? A fucking sheep? That's my Irish impression because I heard somebody say it one time.
Eh,
I was like,
alright.
"Hey, there's your bus right there. Get on your bus." It was outside of an Irish pub in Germany. "Hey, there's your bus right there." And he goes, "What do you think I am? A fucking sheep?" I laughed
Right,
about that for 4 days. That
right.
accent was cool.
Yeah. But anyway, so, yeah, that was a thing.
Mm,
And let's get into the last one that fits into this that I recall.
okay, buddy.
All right. So it's skipping ahead a good bit. And let's see here. It was the last experience I had with the paranormal for a long time until things started going down around the time of the last eclipse that just happened. But I digress. Whatever.
Okay.
So when this happened, you know, I had fully changed who I was. I was the fisher of spam that you see before you now. I've learned a little bit more since then, but essentially the same person. Okay. So I woke up. It felt like sleep paralysis for like, I don't know, like I was dreaming about something and I felt it come on, I guess is the best way to describe it. And then I woke up in the sleep paralysis, like, oh no. And mind you, this is the first time that's happened in a long time, especially after giving my life back to Christ. It's definitely the first time that that's happened since then.
How recent? How recent is this?
Ah, hmm, 2, 3 years, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So I woke up in the sleep paralysis, and the wife is already gone for work, and it's just me in the bed with my daughter. And then I'm looking up because I'm laying on my back because I'm holding her in my arm. And then all of a sudden, this ghostly looking, wispy, shadowy thing floats over me. And it's interesting that it looks like that because even though it's kind of giving off classical ghostish type vibes with the wispiness
Apparition.
of it, mhm,
Hmm.
the difference is that this thing also at the same time looks like a gray alien. But
That's a new one.
right, this was I've never heard anything else like this before. But anyways, the only difference there is its features are very distorted. You know, instead of being like the slim gray looking thing that we see, this one does have bigger eyes, which is interesting. But it's got very much a toothy looking mouth, like very sharp, jaggedy teeth, and it's just wearing the biggest Cheshire cat grin that I have ever seen.
Heard of that before.
Mhm.
Okay.
So it's floating in midair, and it comes right in front of my face. I can't hear it. I don't know if it's got my ears turned off, if it's just speaking in a way that I can't hear. I don't know. I don't know. But it's like it's goading me at this point. Like, ha ha, I got you. I got you. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I'm like, I'm freaking out because this is the first time this has happened in a while. But I'm not really too concerned about my safety in this situation. I'm more concerned about my daughter because she's right here in my arm. And I swear, like, as soon as I had that thought, its grin got bigger, and it looked beside me at her. And then it turned back, looked at me, got even bigger. Like, I don't know how it could keep growing its smile. And it's like it's saying, "Oh, look what I'm about to do to you. This will be fun." And then it starts drifting over to her. Now, even though I can't move, I can't talk, I can't do whatever, this brain is working. And I am the person that you guys all know now. I know who I am. These words, these prayers are not empty. I am who I am. I am a Christian. I know my power and authority in Christ. And I start praying. I'm like, look, Jesus, I really need to move. Like, I need you to intercede here and give me the power to stop this. This part of my life needs to be done. I'm tired of having to deal with this crap. I need you to help me right now, please.
Mm.
And as soon as I made that prayer, a switch gets flipped and I can move. And I know I can move. I don't know how I can know I can move. It's whatever the central nervous system is that's shut down is turned on instantly, and I know it. And I reach over there and I grab this thing by the wrist, this ethereal, wispy, alien, ghosty, spirity, shadowy thing. I don't know how, but I grabbed it. Well, I know how. I grabbed this thing by the wrist and I jerk it away from my daughter and hang it off of the side of the bed. And it turns up and looks at me like, what just happened? Like, it's got shock. Like, what in the world? And I just start screaming over and over and over in its face, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I mean, there's nothing else that's necessary. I know, and we all know the power the name holds. And more importantly, they know. So I'm just screaming Jesus over and over and over in this thing's face as I'm holding it by the wrist as hard as I possibly can. And as soon as I do, its face turns from shock to just complete horror and pain. All of a sudden, it's writhing in agony. It can't take it. It can't handle it. And then after, I don't know how many times I scream in its face, all of a sudden it just winks out of existence. And my hand that was wrapped around its wrist as hard as I could collapses. There's now nothing.
Wow. Damn,
I'm like, oh, it's gone. Thank you, big dog. I needed that. I really needed that. Thank you, Jesus. Praise God.
Jesus, aka Big Dog.
Thanks, buddy. I really needed that. I turn over and look at my...
Yeah,
yeah. I turn over and I look at the
rural
daughter.
Alabama. I'm sorry, dude. It's so.
No, it's cool. Go for it. Go for it.
Your what is it? Syncretic way of speaking. Sometimes you're from like Alabama, and then all of a sudden you're like in Brooklyn once in a while, and then you just go back to Alabama. It's so funny to me.
I like to feel as though I am a cultured man at times. Tally-ho. But, you know.
So you go back to your daughter? Yeah.
Yeah, I looked at the daughter and she's wide awake. I was like, oh
wow.
Interesting. I was like, hey, did you see anything? No, Daddy. Did you hear anything? Just you. What happened? I said, excellent. Great news. You didn't see it. You didn't hear it. I said, well, baby, for the very first time, Daddy felt some victory in these things that happened to Daddy. But everything's okay. You don't need to worry.
Right.
It's time to go back to bed. Granted, I didn't sleep very well because every time I heard a noise, I was up and ready for war.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Yeah. It's such a weird thing when you're like, when you get in that. like, here's a question I've never asked you. Do you like going through all of this? I'm
Mhm.
a former war vet, and I do have a bit of PTSD. That's still. It was like it took me a long time to realize that it happened. It took me
Right.
a couple of years to even realize that was a part of it for sure. Or at least, if not, the spark that made it happen.
Mhm.
Like, have you had anything like that, or is there like or are you just before you go to bed you do your prayers and you feel like you're okay, or do you have any of that, any PTSD with all these events that's happened to you?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, every time I see an airplane or a satellite in the sky at night, I'm automatically like, super sus. I don't want no part of that. But if you want to come down
Right.
here, we will fight. And I have to always tell myself, chill, chill. It's an airplane or it's a satellite. Like I've got sky
Mhm.
tracker apps on my phone. I'm like, I don't know. It's a little sus. Let's check it out. Oh, you're lucky, Mr. Airplane. You're lucky. You know,
I know
I,
you're a
I
Christian, and this is a question that I'm going to have, and I don't know how it would play a role in your life. There's
sure.
many forms of it. Have you considered meditation, or have
No,
you tried meditation? No.
obviously I tried it before and it made nothing happen.
Really, it's a practice. It takes a very long time to get really good at it. It's like playing guitar, but even
Yes.
more. It's very difficult.
And I would say the roots of where that practice comes from and the things that it tries to accomplish can go very dark very quickly. So, for me personally, in my walk in life, I just choose to skip the middleman and not take the chance and no need for it.
Yeah, that makes sense though. Seeing the experiences that you have had, and you're saying like that opening up, because that's what it is. It's kind of like for me, it's being in the moment. Like
Mhm.
there could be chainsaws going on around me, kids screaming, cars going by, it could be whatever. And if I'm in that mood of meditation and then I realize, oh, I'm meditating, then I snap back out of it. But all it
Right.
does is connect me, for me personally, Jim, is
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
connects
yeah.
me with the moment of
Right.
existence, the moment of
Yeah.
God,
Sure.
that moment. And but
Mhm.
I can imagine, if I may, being in your point of view, being what's happened to you and the opening up of yourself has these things happening to you, I probably wouldn't do it either.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't.
And it's one of those things like, I'm not here to judge anybody and what they want to do and how they feel is right. You do you, boo boo. I don't it's no big deal. I love you no matter what, you know.
Right. There it
And
is, Jim.
right. And for me, like I said, you can look at where that comes from and what the goal ultimately was and extrapolate from there and go, maybe not the best idea. However, I feel like there's nothing wrong with being mindful and in the moment and absorbing whatever feel like you need to be absorbing in this moment in time. I'm not saying that downward dog and stretching is a bad thing.
Oh, kicks my butt.
I'm not
Good
saying
Lord.
that. But what I am saying is that every rabbit hole we go down, no matter what the subject is, if you keep going down that rabbit hole, at the end, there's only two things waiting for you at that rabbit hole. Only two.
I
And
know.
it's going to be up to you to choose if you keep going or not. I mean, I don't care what the subject is. Just keep going down. Keep asking yourself why, and it will always take you down to those two things. Sorry,
Yeah.
you know. So for me, like you said, it's one of those things. Like I don't care to be open to anything because
You're
I'm done
fulfilled.
with that.
You're fulfilled. I think
Yeah,
that's a good
there's
way of
that.
saying it. Is that correct way to saying that? You're fulfilled.
Sure, why
You have
not?
made peace with your creator, and you are one with your creator. Therefore, you don't need anything else. You feel fulfilled in your life with your
Right,
children and your family and God.
right.
Oh,
I can think of
okay.
whatever I want to and do all the stretching I want to, and not have to be contemplating the universe, I guess you could say. But if you choose to do that, Hey, go for it.
Well, it's not about, well, maybe, well, I'm not a master of meditation. I'm not here to correct you or correct anyone who tries it, but it's more,
Right.
for me, it's not about questioning. It's more about finding the true self. That's
Sure.
the, you
There's nothing
understand?
wrong with that.
We diverge on certain ideas. I'm a God guy,
Right.
just like you. You have your faith and belief, and I have my thing, whatever
Right.
that is. Uh,
There's nothing wrong with that at
no,
all. I
no,
mean,
of
don't,
course, of course.
make sure, guys,
No,
you,
no,
Tom, obviously, and YouTube land, I'm not here to judge anybody or tell you
no.
you're going to hell. No,
Jim
no,
doesn't proselytize. Jim is more like,
no.
hey, this is for me. If you want, you have questions. I love you anyway. I'm here for you, and
Right.
that's what I'm all about. And that right there is where me and Jim will never have any issues ever.
Right. Never.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
know,
But
I'm just,
it's
I
very
just
interesting.
say, I just say, be mindful of it because
Yeah,
it can, if you want to keep getting into it and you want to eventually become a yogi and all this kind of stuff, and you keep on and you keep on, eventually that path will lead you somewhere. And it might
enlightenment
not be good. It might not be good, just
might not be
be
good,
mindful.
but it also might, because the universe. I'm sorry, Jim. The universe does respect. It does respect courage. Does respect courage, and I think that's another. I think that's another thing. Like the courage of accepting Jesus as your savior is a
Mhm.
courageous thing. You once you've accepted it and it becomes part of your, your life, and it's not part of your life. It is your life. That is a courageous thing. It really
Right.
is. The universe does respect courage, and the path to enlightenment. There's many roads to that. You know what I'm saying? There's many ways to get that. People, we filter through to come to the same point, and the point in the end, to be a tree hugger is, oh, my tree's behind me here, is love. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And love is
Right.
another name for Jesus is love as well. Of course, I'm
Sure.
sure it has something in there. That's what
Right.
it's about.
Right.
And that's the great thing about Jim, because we do know there's people who love to bash you in the head and call you this and call you that. That's not what Christ is about, from what I understand.
Bingo.
Through the teachings of Jim and others, of course. And
Yeah.
I think it's always a great message. It's always a great
Right.
message. So, like, so these shadow beings, I've had a few encounters. Like, you kind of see them out the
Mhm.
side of your face, out of my. I've seen them in my peripheral, and now when I see them, I'll say things like, "I see you. I see you
Hmm.
there. You're not allowed here. You need to
There you
leave.
go.
I I am protected. I am protected just because I even seen you. I am
Mhm.
protected." You know what I mean? I
Right.
have your protection. I have your protection. I know that I always have your protection. I always have my buddy Magical's protection, and then my girlfriend. She's Catholic. I have her protection. I'm a good guy. I don't try to hurt nobody.
Well, I mean,
But I
to be fair
have seen
though,
that.
it's
Yes,
not it's not me.
that's yeah,
So,
well, true, true. But you maybe that's fair. Fair point, Jim. Fair point, Jim.
I'm
Jimbo.
just I am just I love you and I am willing to stand in the gap for you is
that's
the better
that's
way to put it.
that's a good way of saying it.
And I am in
Jim
agreement
the
with
gap
you
filler.
that you should be protected. So,
Yes. But I have seen a Hat Man before, and you've
ah,
heard of the Hat Man. Have you seen the
oh
Hat
yeah.
Man? You've
I
seen the
mean,
Hat Man?
the last one was
The
pretty
last
big, and
one?
well, not the last one. The next to last one was pretty big, and if it had a hat on, I would call it the Hat Man, but it didn't have a
Okay,
hat
have
on,
you
so
seen one with the hat on?
no.
I've seen him with the hat on. That's
Hmm.
why, because when I described it to someone, that's why he goes, it was when I first started the podcast. So what have you seen? What's your stuff? That way when we started, I was like, well, I seen the shadow one time and it had a hat on. And he goes, oh, that's Hat Man. I go, what the hell is Hat Man? And I looked
Hmm.
it up, and the picture is exactly what I seen, but I didn't see any glowing eyes. And I seen it not facing forward, but sideways, moving past the door frame.
Mhm.
Wild. Footsteps, doors opening, pass in front of the door with the light, like how like it's shadow in the hallway angled out because of the light where it was, so it's kind of like a, not a rhombus, but like a parallelogram in the
Yeah.
hallway.
Yeah.
And it's just this thing blacker than the shade around, blacker than the hallway. What through the
Blacker
light,
than the blackest black. Yep.
complete black. And
Yep.
I was just like, when you see it, it was like I was like 24. So this is 2004, 2005. Is the homie Hatman is the homie? The dead crown. What's up, dude? Oh, my buddy Austin.
Do you, buddy?
Yeah, he's Austin is he's a very large he's a big paranormal investigator. Please go out and check out Austin's work. Great guy.
Yes. Go check it out.
And it passed in front of, and I was just like, I didn't know anything about these things, and I was just like, what the hell is that? Because I did have that poltergeist when I was 8, and I was like 24, and I was just like, so I stood up, and I was with my band members in the room, this old building, and I went and looked to the way it went, and the only way it could have gone is down this old fire escape. But I didn't hear the door open to the fire escape. It's right there. It's literally 15 feet. Didn't hear it. Door didn't open. No, nothing. What did you see? What happened? And Tom was like, I seen the shadow pass in front of the door. And they were like, so I've seen them too. I've seen it one time. 2 smoky apparitions, and I've heard voices in the forest and stuff like that. That was a weird one. But yeah, I've had a few encounters, but I'm not trying to compare or contrast our encounters. But if we're talking about shadow people, I think Hatman needs to be mentioned. This thing was about I was talking to what is his name? I think it was his name. The gentleman, it's escaping me at the moment. He's seen one outside under a lamppost, and he said it's about 7 feet tall, and it's exactly what I've seen. It's about 7 foot tall, and like perfectly cut out, like the Spy versus Spy hat.
Yeah,
just pass in front of the door. It's such a crazy thing when you see it. It's like, and it's so obvious, but yet so weird. And this is I don't know if we're getting any closer to any of this. I think Jim, I'm sure that you believe that and when I mean it, when I say you believe, it doesn't mean I speak down to you. Did you believe you have the answer? And your answer is that these things are evil. These things are demonic. They are some type of spin-off of the Satan. Like they're the what's the there was Beverly Hills 90210, that's Satan, and then there was the spinoff Melrose Place. Like
okay.
Like these hat men. I'm going back in the 90s here. You got the hat man, and you have all these other things that are happening to you, these aliens and all that. These are the Melrose Place of 90210. That's what if I'm I don't mean to speak for you, but if that's what you're saying, there's some type of evilness, which I also agree with. That came to me. The deeper you go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, the more you realize there is a true evil in the world.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's not money and power. Like I said before, guys, it's not money and power. At the end of the day, it's something else. Whether it be Saturn worshiping, whether it be the Boule. That should give me a nice little strike on YouTube. The Boule, if you've heard of those before, it could be the Nines. There's a group called the Nines. There's a lot of evilness in the world, and when you really realize what's going on, then you have to realize, when you absolutely positively know that, when it comes to like, okay, Baal, great example. Thanks, JD.
Good job, JD.
When you know that, and you see what they've done to us, if you see what's happening to the population curves, when you see all that for what it really is, when you see like Planned Parenthood and things like that, which is wild to me. When you see that,
it's a sacrifice.
It's weird, dude. It's weird. Yeah. Like everything that seems to be on that. I used to be center left. Now I'm center right. That's politically. That's where I am. Not a big fan of Trump as a person, but I don't like my bosses. I never liked any of my bosses. So if he's a good boss, who cares? As long as we're getting paid at the end of the day, who gives a shit, right?
Right.
Moving on. Right. I mean, this is a good way of looking at it, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
What was I getting to? Yeah, but if you know that's like, you see this, like all their ideas seem to lead to death or the lack of reproduction, the lack of children. Or when you have the children, that what they do to the children, or what they try to do or suggest, and now it's being okayed, then you go, okay, that has to be evil, because you can't think it's a good idea. Right. You can't be like, sit back on your moral compass and be like, this is a good thing. It's not. It can't be. So then you have to know that there is an all-powerful good.
Yes.
So for evil to play its hand the way it has in these last 10 to 15 years, even well before that as well. But now it's being so blatant means that they're losing.
Right.
Means that they're losing. To be so blatant with it, they're losing. So but that is then creates a spiral towards the good. And that's the trajectory that we're on. And maybe that's another reason there's the most people in the world at one time now exist than ever, because now we get to see that transformation.
Right. Hey, Tom.
Now we get to see the change. Yeah.
Give me 2 seconds, man. I've got to do something real quick. I'll be right back, okay?
No worries. No worries. I'll chat with the people over here on the side. All right, guys. Well, since he's out, let's go ahead and see. I am still at 997. Is there anybody that you guys know? I am so close to being monetized. It doesn't mean much, but it does, because it's like you set goals. You set some goals and you try to reach them. And people think, oh, he does a podcast. Hi, what's up, Shade? I haven't seen you in a long time. Tom, I think I got a new awesome show. Do you mean this show? Do you mean I'm sorry, I can't respond to you. If I write here on the thing, it doesn't show up in Facebook. It shows up in Twitch, and it shows up in YouTube. Dude. Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, so like I'm so close, and I've been doing this specific show since February, and it's been quite the experience. Here's a cool thing, guys. Tomorrow I will be interviewing MK Davis. Pretty cool, man. Pretty cool stuff. Like when I got if you guys don't know who MK Davis is and you want to know a little bit more about Bigfoot, go and check him out. And my favorite video, which I'm going to talk to him about tomorrow, is who's crying over there? Who's crying over on YouTube? Facebook, excuse me. It's called The Fence Jumper or The Fence Climber. Go check out that video on YouTube. Yes, MK Davis. Yes, Pam. Nice. Seems to be an incredible guy. Like when you listen to his stuff over on YouTube, and he breaks down like the Patty Gimlin film, when you can see like the muscle structure and then moving and saying it's a suit, you're like, nah. So pretty cool stuff. I'm having him on. This tomorrow will be coming out. You haven't met this guy yet? I'll just go through and do some of the updates are coming out. That'd be easy. Not the updates, but some of the things that are coming out. Let's see here. Type videos. Apply. Tomorrow will be coming out. The episode is called Waking Up the NPCs. Mark Savnik's Vision of 2027. Very cool guy. He's from Slovenia. He's very well connected with the hey buddy. He's very well connected with Slovenia's UFO disclosure and his ideas of what's going to happen. I already did another recording one. Then we have on the wonderful, let's see who else is after that. I think we have on Gin Sabricus. He's coming back. His episode drops again. Then after that, I have on Darren Franks. He's the one who said, hey, check out MK Davis, because I don't know everybody. Then I had on Daniel from England. If you know that guy, he's young man, 15, I think he is. And he found Bigfoot DNA in England. Pretty wild. Ginserbrickus again. And then I have on Tim Gayhart from Ohio, Bigfoot searchers or research. I can't think of the name of everyone's stuff. He was great too. And cool Dogman story where he was surrounded by 4 of them. Pretty cool stuff.
Never a good time.
Oh, never a good time. So
never a good time when Dogman's there.
So, dude, you want to go ahead and cap a little bit off? You want to maybe tell us where we can find you again?
Yes.
Or if you have anything you want to round off the episode. Thanks for coming on once again and helping me out.
Sure, not a problem. I love to help my friends.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm always here for it. For it.
That's why on Saturday I was like, oh, I want a day off from podcasting, but you were like, Saturday is my show, and I'm like, okay, here we go. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. No worries.
We don't have to, but it's cool that we might actually have Paul on, so that's exciting.
We will. I'm going on. I'll just have my little girl with me, and I'll be like, here, put on your earphones, watch your My Little Pony show. Daddy's going to be chatting for about an hour and a half.
My Little Pony.
What's the show going to be about, Jim? What's the Foreign and Forbidden going to be about on Saturday, Jim?
Ooh, Okay, so we are gonna get into the Montauk Project. Ooh, yeah.
Woo!
Are you guys a fan of the show Stranger Things? If
A
you
little.
did you everybody out there in YouTube land know that Stranger Things is a direct ripoff from the Montauk Project?
There was another one in Germany called The Dark. It's also very similar.
Oh, yeah, I don't know. But either way, oh my God, Stranger Things is real? Yes.
Yes.
And what do
There
you
it is.
mean and? Oh, you have to show up. We're gonna get into the and. MK Ultra is attached. The Philadelphia experiment is attached.
So go over to Fisher Spams on Night Watch. Fisher, what is this? Is your YouTube here? Yeah, this is YouTube right here. Because on Saturday, at what time, Jim? 8:30 Eastern?
Central.
9:30 Eastern. Perfect.
Yes.
So don't be out doing any illicit drugs. Enjoy yourself. Have a good time with your family. Come over and let's talk about a real thing that happened and quite possibly is still happening. And
you
the form of
forbidden.
forbidden. Yeah. One more time. What's the form of the forbidden, Jim? What is it?
The form of the forbidden is a roundtable collaboration normally between me, you, and Magical Journey. We all have different perspectives on things. But you know what's interesting about this is no matter what our perspectives, no matter our angles, we always come to the same conclusions. It's a great time and we dive into all these topics. And sometimes, since we are different, we have different perspectives on these things, and it might help you see a little bit more of a different angle of the subject. It's
keep your mind open.
Time. Right.
Keeping your mind open. Jim's make me change thoughts on things, and I've helped Jim maybe things, and then, Magical, he comes on, go check out Magical Journeys podcast as well. He does some crazy stuff over there. He talks to a lot of witches. He's into witchcraft a lot. But
he's got a really neat purple fire trick too. That's really cool.
Yeah, and he's also got a heart the size of the world. He's not the Grinch.
That's me.
Yeah, so that's going to be Saturday. It's going to be a blast, guys. Go over and check that out. And
we have
Jim,
lots of fun.
You don't have a do you have are your shows coming on a regular schedule at the moment?
As long as I don't mess it up when I set them to premiere, yeah. Normally if I do a like I did Monday I did a behind the scenes of how I do my AI interviews, which is what Stardust Ranch is.
Stardust Ranch.
Yeah, so I accidentally released that on Monday instead of setting it for a premiere on Friday, because normally pre-recorded shows like that comes out Friday at 5 for now.
Okay, that's like my shows come out.
Yeah, and then live interviews will be Saturday at 8:30. So
awesome. Spam. Pam. I never noticed that. There's an S. Oh, that's why they're so close. Pam, when does Magical shows come out? Do you remember, Jim? I think they're Fridays. I think his shows are Fridays.
Yeah, Friday at what is it? 3, I think, or 4
in the afternoon.
No, wait. No, he comes out at 7.
He comes on 7 or 8 or something like that. Maybe Pam.
Yeah.
Pam knows. She'll write it on the side.
Pam, help me.
Got to check out a show. So you are up over, what are you, around 200 subs now? No, you're over 100 now.
No, I'm not even at 100 yet.
Get out of here, dude. How could that even be possible? Please do me a favor. Please go over and subscribe to his channel. He's a cool guy. You can see he's a sweetheart of a guy. You can see he's a family man. And that's what we're trying to promote here. Family, love, and connected to everything and everyone.
Yes. But
comes out Tuesday, Thursdays. He has a show on Tuesdays. He has I think one's called the Paranormal Files. Thursdays, I don't know what that show is. And then Friday at 7 p.m. He has his live shows that he does every week. So go check out his channel. I'm sorry. I'm plugging his channel at the same time I'm plugging you're plugging yours.
Well, yeah, definitely, guys. Go out there and show Magic some love. He's a great guy. I love Magic. He's so awesome. He's such a good dude. You guys would like him. We take different perspectives, but Lord, I love the kid to death, and he's a good guy. He really is. So go show him some love.
He's like twice your age, kid to death.
Yeah.
I love it, Jim. I love it, Jim. So anything else you want to add before we get up out of here, buddy?
No, just come see me at the Night's Watch, guys. Just type it in the YouTube search and like and subscribe if you would. I mean, you don't have to. I'm not everybody's slice of spam. I get it. I'm just here to do some gardening and let you guys all know that I love you. So
yes,
come hang out.
So I'll go ahead and do mine real quick too. We'll do it kind of like a forum outro, and I don't have to go separately at the end here. Yeah. So this is the Eye of Jupiter. I am literally at the moment 3 subs away from being monetized, like I was telling you guys, but Jim had to go do whatever he was doing. Very close to that. Every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time, I do a live show just like this one. Next week, I will be having on Moises. He is from Mexico, and we're going to get into some Mexican folklore, especially Mayan. We're going to be talking about Lucius. We're going to be talking about the Ixtabay. The Ixtabay is a famous witch here directly on the Yucatan Peninsula. It's kind of like the Bell Witch, but for the Yucatan Peninsula. Mm-hmm. And we're going to get into because he has family members who have dabbled into that, and he doesn't do that anymore as well. And then every Friday I release my show at 3:30 p.m. Central Time, and sometimes I do some updates, sometimes sporadically I'll have a live. You can also find me on Rumble, you can find me on Spotify, you can find me over on Twitch, and I seen that it actually works today, so that's weird. I guess I'll see you guys over there. That'd be a lot of fun. And remember, guys, we are the Eye and we are aware. Love you all.